legal system and the court of public opinion was still allowed prosecutors to ask victims of rape, what were you wearing? Did you have a bra? This is not a joke. This is deadly freaking earnest, man. What difference does it make what a woman was wearing? But still, today, the question you get asked, were you drinking? What did you say? Why did you offend him? These are questions that angered me then and anger me now. No one, particularly a court of law, has a right to ask any of those questions. And everyone wanted to be engaged in plausible deniability. I didn't see it. I know what's going on, but it's a private matter. Buried deep in our psyche as a culture is the idea, if it wasn't stranger rape, somehow the woman must have done something to provoke this. This is being raised up for one fundamental reason. We have to change the culture that allows the abuse of women and men, and it must be clear that no means no. No means no, whether it's in the classroom, in the backseat of a car, on a mall, or in your bedroom, and you start and you change your mind. No means no. Period.
So what is this culture that Joe is talking about, and when did it come of age? The technical term for rape culture is that it's a sociological concept for a setting in which rape is pervasive and normalized due to societal attitude about gender and sexuality. Rape culture was brought to the world in the 1970s by second-wave feminists. This is the pyramid of rape culture. The pyramid doesn't rank the different types of harm. All parts of the pyramid are just as important as the one above or below it. When people talk about rape or sexual violence prevention, they often look for ways to prevent the top part of the pyramid. But it is equally important to look at the bottom half of the pyramid, which is the root of the whole culture. Social media and television play a huge role in the normalization of rape culture, which is the opposite of what needs to happen. Many shows and movies like Orange is the New Black, 16 Candles, and Pretty Little Liars promote and depict rape culture and normalize sexual assault. Looking deeper, in one season of The Game of Thrones, rape and sexual assault was depicted over 50 times. On Twitter, a lot of people post about how they feel about their own rapes and assaults, only to be victim blamed and slut-shamed. You may be asking how this became so normal over the years. A lot of people don't realize that sexual assault is just as serious as rape. To our society, sexual assault is minor and rape is major. Things like catcalling and locker room talk have been normalized because they are everyday occurrences. This type of talk leads to victim blaming, like telling women they shouldn't have worn a miniskirt or shown that much cleavage, and that she didn't have to be so confident and maybe she shouldn't have been at that party or club without a man to protect her. Victim blaming is one of the main reasons why victims don't report their rape or assault. 60% of rape victims actually take the blame for what happened to them, and it can even take years for victims to realize what happened. A lot of these victims suffer from PTSD, depression, and may even become suicidal. Only 24% of rape victims actually label the incident as a rape, and this is because society tells them that it's their fault. Rape culture is all over the world but is very prominent in America. The root cause of rape culture is the domination and objectification of women, but other people are so blind to this that they don't see the damage it does and they don't see past the definition. Rape culture involves those men, women, and children who have been sexually assaulted or raped, and the blame is put on them rather than their attacker. Examples of victim blaming are phrases like, boys will be boys, and she asked for it. Another example of victim blaming is scaring a victim into not speaking out about their attacker by saying things like, I don't believe you, or you're going to ruin his career. Toxic masculinity is also a contributing factor of rape culture. This tells men from an early age that they have to express their emotions through anger and aggression, and that to be a man you must score with a bunch of girls. Rapists aren't born rapists, they are nurtured with these aggressive ideas. Rape culture includes the way that girls are taught to act from a young age. They are taught to never go to a bathroom alone or leave their drink unattended at a party. They grow up in schools that have dress codes designed to keep them from distracting anyone with their shoulders or tight-fitting pants. Without even knowing it, girls are raised and taught how to avoid being raped, when we should be teaching everyone not to rape.
They got on top, and you don't need to know the rest because we're some of the 68% of victims that will never tell a soul, so we'll just grab our dresses and go home, take a few showers, and try to get some sleep. In the morning, we will pick out the outfit that is most discreet because we want to make sure that no other man from the street thinks we look sweet enough to want to taste. We want to make sure we are as covered as possible so that our identities are not replaced with walking candy. And we will sit at the back of class where nobody will ask how our weekend was because if they ask, we might just burst into tears. And we will live in fear. We will run home so that we will never see the same men again that wait for us to be alone. We went from little boys poking us to men provoking us. We went from little boys pulling our ponytails to watching the trail of tears fall down our pillow every night because we knew once we fell asleep we would see the men in our dreams, nightmares that caught up to us on the sidewalk that night and left us bare. We went from playing with our toys to being toys ourselves. So boys will be boys, and us women will never tell.
Many organizations have been made to support and aid victims of sexual assault and rape. These organizations want the victim to know that they are not alone and they did nothing to make these attacks happen to them. The Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network is the largest anti-sexual assault organization and hotline in the U.S. End Rape on Campus is an organization that works to end sexual violence on campuses by using the support of survivors. Rape culture falls into the Catholic social teaching of protection of human life. Next to abortion, euthanasia, and the death penalty, the Evangelium Vitae expresses this. So what's our solution? If we want to put an end to rape culture, it needs to start in the homes. Parents should encourage their children to express their emotions and not suppress them. They should be open with their children about sexual violence and make it clear that these actions are not okay and that rape culture is bad. We can't go into the homes, but we can start a program to go into schools and teach kids about rape culture and victim blaming. We want to let them know that it's okay to let someone know if you are attacked and that many people can help them, emotionally and legally. And lastly, we want them to know that it's not their fault.
We live in what scholars would call a rape-prone society, in which the culture of violence against women is so embedded in us that we forget it's even there. We have misinformed our young men about the definition of consent, and we have defined sexuality in terms of power and obligation. But we must unlearn these behaviors together, because the reality is that you sit in class every single day with rape victims, and you probably sit in class with rapists too. Rapists are not born rapists. They are constructed by sociocultural attitudes that shape their identity and motivate their violence. Talking about sexual assault is incredibly uncomfortable, but that's precisely why we must do just that. So if you are a victim of sexual assault, tell your story proudly. And if you're not, use your voice to help those who are. Because I firmly believe that our vulnerability is our voice, that our stories fuel our strength, that our pain does not define us.
Thank you for watching.